What up, guys? Your boy Quake, and right on time, right on schedule, 50 Cent gets on Instagram and decides to clown Ja Rule for going at him in the Breakfast Club interview. If you're unaware of what's going on, Ja Rule stopped by the Breakfast Club, and in my previous video, I go over this. He basically gets asked about what he thought of 50 Cent clowning Irv Gotti for dying. Well, Ja Rule said he was really upset, wanted to go nuclear, and then he said he talked to Supreme and that he has nothing to do with the shooting that happened to 50, so on and so forth. And of course, this caught 50's radar, and 50 decided to respond on Instagram, and this is what he had to say. He posted a screenshot of Ja Rule on the Breakfast Club, and in the caption he said this: "The Breakfast Club should be ashamed of themselves asking questions that perpetuates violence. This fool has been getting ready to go what he calls a nuclear for 22 years. LOL, ya man in my runts right now." Now, a lot of people were confused towards the end. What is he talking about in my runts? He's basically doubling down and saying that he is smoking on that Irv Gotti pack, which is, I disagree with this completely. I don't like when people talk about the dead. I get where 50's coming from. I totally understand, because these people were laughing essentially when 50 got shot. They were, joyous and happy. So I get where 50's coming from, but me personally, I just stay away from making fun of the dead. I don't know how artists nowadays do it. I think a lot of them aren't artists. They're just gangsters that turn into rappers. It's unfortunate, but that's a whole different topic. So regardless, 50 is doubling down on smoking on that Irv Gotti pack. And of course, Ja Rule responds, but he goes to Twitter, aka X, to respond, where 50 isn't active. He's usually active on Instagram. He used to be active on Twitter, but now he's not really. It's just a copy and paste. Whatever he posts on Instagram gets copy and pasted to Twitter. But he was going in on Twitter, and boy, did the fans respond and let him have it. He started on Twitter saying, "At 50 Cent, suck my bleep, you bleep ass bleep. I already ate your lunch, shut up." And I had to obviously censor myself because YouTube is not going to allow me to say all those words at once. A fan responded and quoted and said, "50 ain't gonna let this slide." Ja Rule responded to that and said he got shot 9 times and did nothing. Stop glazing this clown. Ja Rule then continues in the next tweet and says, "At 50 Cent, until you do something to the guys that shot you, you can't troll no more. Handle your business, chump. Laugh my ass off." Then a fan responded saying, "Pause." Ja Rule quoted it saying, "No pause, none of that shit, get off my bleep, blow the whistle, laughing emoji." Then another fan responded and said, "He ended Murder Inc." Ja Rule then said, "You're right, he told the feds. Murder Inc. had him shot. They put us under federal indictment." He basically called him a rat. Ja Rule then continued and says, "I got a day off from tour. I got time today." He then goes at 50 again and says, "You're a used car salesman. Everything you do is trash music. One good album, after that, trash liquor, trash TV shows. Yeah, I said it, trash. How many times you going to make the same show that Coke stepped up on parenting, trash, character, trash? Guy, you the garbage man." He's laughing, and then he continues and says, "From now on, your name Boo Boo. That's what they called you on the streets, right?" Laugh my ass off. Boo Boo the fool, which is kind of funny. 50 Cent is a street guy from Brooklyn. You Boo Boo from Queens. MC Gusto, CB4, bleep bleep, laughing emoji. Man, these guys, I don't know what it is. I just keep laughing because I did my 50 Cent versus Ja Rule documentary, I think in 2018. Yeah, and I got so much stuff I can add from then till now that these guys just been going back and forth. Every 4 or 5 months, these two go at it. It's hilarious. Then there's another fan that tweeted and said, "Guy just admitted that he watches Power. Laugh my ass off." And then Ja Rule quotes it saying, "Never seen one episode. We solid over here, champ." Ja Rule continues and then goes at the 50 Cent fans. He posts on Twitter saying, "This is what you 50 fanboys look like in these comments. Laughing, you make your women proud, I'm sure." And it's a gif of a woman getting a bunch of hot dogs thrown at her, which is implying that, the fans are, de-sucking 50. And then he follows up with another post, this time providing paperwork proof that 50 Cent snitched. He tags 50 and said, "Go ahead and lie. Tell these good people, tell the paperwork fake so I can send this next shot. We got receipts, boo-boo." Now, this is paperwork that Ja Rule showed back in 2003 or 2002, saying that, 50's a snitch and informant. It was come to find out this paperwork, you couldn't find it anywhere. Like usually when there's a public filing of something, you can find it. This paperwork never materialized as something serious. We don't know as the years go on, what Ja Rule's talking about now with more receipts. There really isn't anything that has been proven solid that 50 snitched. Overall, man, this is some funny stuff. Obviously, these two going back and forth is never going to end. Like I said, I'm sure 50 is going to respond to this. If he doesn't, I think it's a better play for him. Honestly, just kind of leave it what it is. 50 is going to double down on, smoking on the Irv Gotti pack. And of course, Ja Rule is going to defend his friend who passed away. I just hope in the future they keep Irv Gotti out of this. He's, no longer here. It's unfortunate, so just kind of move on from that situation, and let's keep it Ja Rule and 50. And like I said in the previous video, man, whoever is the first one to actually die is going to clown the other. I mean, I'm sure Ja Rule is going to do the same thing if 50 passes away before him. And of course, if Ja Rule passes before 50, 50's going to have a fucking field day on social media. I don't even know how old they're going to be, but he's going to, if he's 89 years old, he's going to have a field day at 89 years old. So we'll see what happens moving forward. I think, these two, they're just always going to have this. And, we know the history. At least most people know the history. Very violent. In terms of the rat stuff that he said, it's been proven that, 50's never ratted. There's no proper ever paperwork. It was proved that the paperwork that they did provide was altered, and on top of that, it was from that studio engineer that filed the lawsuit, because the studio engineer had nothing to do with the beef. And of course, the studio engineer is going to get paid from that session because that studio engineer got hurt. So of course he's going to seek damages. He knows Ja Rule's got money at the time, or if Gotti's got money. 50 didn't really, because he wasn't really blowing up at that time. But if you're going to think about it like this. If you're a regular citizen, you're just there doing your job as a studio engineer, and you get beat up, of course you're going to file something. And you have to get everyone that was involved. You have to put their names on there. That's just how it goes when it comes to filing paperwork. Everybody's name has to get involved that was there in that studio. And 50's name was on there, and they used that as a ploy to say that 50 was the one that filed it, so on and so forth. When I've looked it over, I've even contacted law enforcement over in New York. I was looking at court documents. My whole documentary, I went deep diving into that, and there was nothing that I could find. So that whole thing has been played out. We know the feds went after Murder Inc. because they thought Murder Inc. was funneling money to Supreme to, buy more drugs and, be a bigger drug kingpin, stuff like that. So that's a whole different thing. And to be fair, Ja Rule didn't fall off at that time. A lot of people think after 2003, Ja Rule just fell off. But we got to remember in 2004, he dropped Wonderful with R. Kelly, which did really well. And then he dropped that New York record, which did really well in the streets. So it's not like this whole perspective that Ja Rule just fell off right after beefing with 50. It didn't happen. I think just a bunch of things piled up at once, and it caused them to just kind of implode, and it just is what it is. So 50 does get a lot of credit for that. He did had a lot to do with the damage of Murder Inc., but all that stuff being piled up at once definitely, added on to that and helped 50 sort of destroy them as a company. It was just a perfect storm to, destroy them. So, yeah, there's a bunch of things. If you don't know the history, just watch my 50 Cent versus Ja Rule documentary. Let me know what you guys think. Is Ja Rule valid in his responses? Is 50 valid in his response? Let me know in the comments below. That's it for today's video. If you guys want to support this channel further, you can do so at patreon.com/diverse mentality. For just $3 a month, you can get my videos uncut and raw the way I intended them to be, but couldn't because of YouTube. Plus, you also get access to our Discord community, where we have a great community talking about hip-hop and various other things. It's very dope. So only $3 a month. I'd really appreciate the support. Also, follow us on social media at QuakeGW and at Diverse Mentality. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.